Arthur Pendragon has been fully available in Rise of Kingdoms for a couple of days now, and today I think it's time I make a full Arthur Pendragon in-depth guide, going over his skills, his best pairs, his possible talent trees, and finally if you should even consider investing in him. So if you're interested in Arthur Pendragon as a commander and whether or not he's actually good or maybe he is just average, you want to stick around till the end of the video. Now, let's start off as we always do with all commanders by going over their skills. We're going to start off with Arthur's primary skill, Excalibur. It has a rage requirement of 1000, and here's where it already gets interesting. If this commander is serving as a primary commander, their troop will gain the Swords of the Like effect, which will let them launch 2 combo attacks against up to 3 enemy troops in a fan-shaped area, damage factor of, when maxed, 1400, and every additional target will reduce that damage. So essentially, if he's a primary commander, he's going to do combo damage, it's 1400 damage, and 2 combo attacks means he's going to do that twice. So he's going to do 1400 and then 1400 one more time. Moving on to if he is a secondary commander, their troop will gain the Sword of the Stone effect, which will let them deal direct damage to 3 enemy troops in a fan-shaped area, damage factor 2800. Very simple. This is more normal if he's a secondary commander, it's just basic damage factor. However, combo attack, as you can see here, it's damage affected by bonuses to normal damage. Combo attacks can trigger any effect that is also triggered by basic attacks. So, for example, if there's a commander that does a debuff whenever you're attacking your opponent, a combo attack can have a chance to trigger that. So, as a really weird example, Scipio has a chance to deal instant damage from his normal attacks. A combo attack can trigger that normal damage, and that is how that works. So, Arthur Pendragon, those combo attacks can be useful for those situations. Moving on to Arthur's second skill, if this commander's cavalry units gain 10% march speed. If this commander's troop is attacking a field troop, his cavs will also gain a total of 20% attack and 30% attack and 20% health. So 20% march speed, 30% attack, 20% health, cavalry only, so keep that in mind. He's definitely not usable with any other troop types. I mean, he wouldn't be anyways, but he is very cavalry dominant there. It's a good amount of stats. I mean, I don't have any gripes with it. It's a good number, especially for now. I mean, it's quite up to date. The march speed's nice. It's relatively high for cavalry. Generally, they get like 15% because they're already very fast. 20% is pretty good, and it's permanent, so there's no like weird thing about the march speed. He could be not even attacking a field troop. You could just be walking to a node or something and he will still get that march speed. So that is nice. And then attacking field troops, you're pretty much always going to do that if you are on the open field. So you're going to get that 30% attack and 20% health, which is very good. Moving on to Arthur's second skill here. Again, we're going to go back to that primary-secondary thing. Starting off, if he's serving as a primary commander, his troops can gain the Scabbard of the Lake effect, granting it a total of a 10% bonus to combo attack damage. That 10% bonus is nice. It's going to give him a good chunk of extra combo attack for his active skill. So this is pretty much just a bonus for the active skill. Moving on to the second part of the skill, if this commander is serving as a secondary commander, their troop is going to gain the Scabbard of the Stone effect, granting it a total of a 10% damage to a 10% bonus to skill damage. So really, what's happening here? If he's primary, more combo attack. If he's secondary, more skill damage. The next thing to note here, though, if he's attacking a field troop, his damage bonuses are multiplied by 3. So in an open field situation, which is what most people are looking at, generally what we're going to see, if he's primary, 30% more combo attack damage. If he's secondary, 30% more skill damage. Nice, interesting dynamic. Basically being able to split him up there. Very, very similar to how Shajar works. There's primary and secondary active skills, and it does change how she runs on the open field. One is mighty healing, one is normal damage. With Arthur, one is combo, one is normal. So that is pretty much how his third skill works. Moving on to the fourth skill, if he's attacking a field troop, whenever it launches a combo attack or deals direct damage, it has a 30% chance to reduce the target's rage by 50 every second. The max it will go to is 100, so pretty much you have a 30% chance to reduce the target's rage by 100 every second for the next 2 seconds. The next thing though, whenever it uses an active skill, it can gain 30% march speed for 3 seconds, which is good. It is a fairly good amount of march speed. The active skill can come in useful there for hit and run. You hit, throw an active skill and run away. The march speed will be nice. It means you can get a total of 50%, which is insane. But keep in mind, it has to be attacking a field troop. Moving on to Arthur Pendragon's expertise. Again, split between primary and secondary commander. We'll start off with the primary. If you're serving as a primary commander, their troop's going to gain the Light of the Lake effect. Whenever their troop launches a basic attack, it has a 50% chance to launch one extra combo attack. Damage factor of 300. This effect can trigger multiple times per second. Each time it triggers in a single second, its chance is reduced to 50% of the previous trigger chance. Now, we spoke about this when I first looked at Arthur Pendragon. It is absolutely insane because theoretically it adds to Rise of Kingdoms an ability to just one-shot a commander, but that would be absurdly rare. The way this skill works, for example, whenever Arthur's going to launch one combo attack, he's going to have a 50% chance of launching another. Now, if he launches that combo attack, he's successfully launched two now, the next one will have a half chance, so it's going to have a 25% chance. So you have a 25% chance to launch 3 combo attacks. It will then half that again, so you have a 12.5% chance to launch 4 combo attacks, and then you'll have a 6.25 for 5, and it will just gradually get smaller and smaller. So as you keep going down the list, it's pretty much impossible to get over like 3 or 4 combo attacks in a row. But essentially here, you have a chance of dealing up to 900 direct damage to the target you're hitting. So that's nice, and it is a lot of single target damage just to have whenever you are running as a primary commander. If he's a secondary commander though, their troop will gain the Light of the Stone effect. Whenever their troop deals direct damage, it has a 25% chance to deal additional damage every second for 1 second to all targets. Direct damage factor is 50% of the direct damages factor. So really this is saying if he's a secondary, he's got a 25% chance to deal additional damage, half the damage factor of his active skill. So whenever he deals skill damage, he's got a 25% chance to deal that damage again as additional damage through the active skills damage. So 50% of the active skill will be dealt as additional damage in an AoE, which is definitely quite nice. Now, looking at Arthur's kit, we're going to say right off the bat, or at least I'm going to say right off the bat, and from personal testing, things that I've seen and done myself, Arthur is not a primary commander unless you've got like perfect equipment and perfect armaments. And my video is not for people who are mega whales. While it could be useful to you guys, really Arthur is a secondary commander for the majority of people right now. A, because there's no real good combo. B, because the current next coming up cavalry combo commander, which is a rally, is absolutely abysmal on the open field. There's too many restrictions in his kit. And C, there just isn't really a massive amount of combo damage in the game right now. There's not many commanders who can do it. So Arthur's combo damage is pretty much, it's not important at all for 90% of players. The real good thing we like about Arthur here is his high amount of skill damage. His expertise is really good. I think if you're going to run him, you want to expertise him because it's going to give him a ridiculous amount of damage factor. And I think he's going to be a field beast. The only thing Arthur's going to lack is he's going to absolutely suck when it comes to swarming a rally. Rallies do not count as a field troop. As you can see here, when you click field troop, non-rallied or non-garrison troops on the map. So Arthur comes down to swarming rallies, probably one of the worst commanders you can use, because half of his kit is locked behind hitting a field troop. So Arthur, definitely not a go-to with attacking field troops. His expertise doesn't need it. Actually, his expertise doesn't, but his 4th skill, his 2nd skill, and his 3rd skill, or most of the 3rd skill, is locked behind hitting a field troop. So do keep that in mind. Arthur, not a rally swarmer, but he looks to be fairly powerful on the open field. Moving on to Arthur Pendragon's best pairings. The first thing we can quickly knock out of the way, Arthur must be a secondary commander. That's pretty much decided. The tests I've seen, the tests I've done, looking at his kit, all of it pretty much says, yeah, for now he's a secondary. I could see Arthur being a successful primary commander, but it would just need to be a time where there are more combo commanders in the game. Currently, there are not many combo commanders in the game. There's literally going to be Arthur and the rally that he releases with, so he's not going to be a good primary commander. But as a secondary, he's a really good AoE damaging commander. I think his best pairing from what I've seen and personal, again, tests, it would be Hao Bing. Hao Bing's got a really, really good synergy with him. I don't exactly know why, but they just seem to work quite well together. Maybe it's the really fast rage cycle. It works well with Arthur Pendragon's expertise, because the way his expertise works is, A, this doesn't have a cooldown, the second section here. So as you can see here, the cooldown on the second bit here, there is no cooldown. So if he's serving as a secondary, he has a chance every single time he does an active skill to deal that extra skill damage. I think that when you run him with a Houche Bing, because of Houche Bing's really fast rage cycle, you pretty much just get more chances at that faster active skill, and almost like a double active skill with Arthur Pendragon, and that double active skill does make a big difference. So Houche Bing, probably one of the best options to run with Arthur. The fact that Houche Bing is doing really good in 1v1s and doesn't have his Autumn Wind effect for the whole fight is definitely quite interesting, and I think it's going to mean that he's really good with Arthur. Another amazing commander obviously is going to be Nevsky. Nevsky is one of the meta primary cavalry commanders, and they're going to work really, really well with Arthur Pendragon. So Nevsky and Houche Bing are definitely guaranteed meta. You can run either one. I'd say they're almost interchangeable. If I had to pick, I'd personally do Houche Bing because Nevsky works better with Joan, and while Joan, at least with Arthur Pendragon, isn't the most amazing, it is usable. But Joan, I wouldn't recommend. I think Arthur does work better with Nevsky or Houche Bing currently, though I have heard some good stuff about Joan, and there is a chance they could work together. So if you have a Joan, I recommend giving it a try, but really I think Nevsky or Houche Bing is the safer go-to option as the primary with Arthur Pendragon. It should be noted, Attila, Takeda, both are absolutely horrible with Arthur. The way that their skills line up, it does not work at all. They just get abysmal trades. So don't even bother trying Attila or Takeda with Arthur. You're just going to get absolutely murked, and it's not worth it at all. They're not a good pairing in any way, shape, or form. There is almost no synergy between them, especially because Attila needs to be a primary. Arthur needs to be a primary as well to do his combo attack damage. It just doesn't work. So Attila, Takeda is not a go-to. Your three commanders would either be Joan as the lowest, Nevsky is the second lowest, and Houche Bing as the best of the three. But all three of them I think would work really well in the open field. Joan, I'd like to see some real open field tests before I came to a proper conclusion. I just haven't seen enough right now. But if you like a lot of AoE, I could see it being a very feasible pairing, and I could see it doing quite damn well. I am quickly re-recording this section because my audio didn't save, but really we're just going to go over the two talent trees here, and Arthur Pendragon has two key talent trees. If you're running in with Nevsky, you need a lot more rage gain, and for that, you want to have Feral Nature. Now, Feral Nature, really amazing talent, it's good for the rage gain, and you just go all in on the skill tree. You'll go and get Naked Rage, I think it's worth it with Nevsky, he's quite tanky, and Arthur's got pretty good DPS, and finally, Latent Power is really good with Arthur. His expertise does provide additional damage factor. Latent Power is an additional damage factor skill boost. So this is one of the rare situations where you can say Latent Power is good. From there, you'll just go into the Cavalry tree to Emblazoned Shield, get a bit more skill damage reduction, make you even more tanky, pretty much counteracts the Naked Rage skill. Then you'll take Halberd, and you'll put 1 point into Dragon Saber. It's the best tree, in my opinion, for a Nevsky with an Arthur Pendragon. Good rage gain, good damage, and it's going to work pretty well. As for a Houche Bing March, you're looking at something a little bit different. First of all, we're going to get Rallying Cry because Houche Bing is really, really good for the first couple of seconds in battle. First 30 seconds, he's going to get massive buffs, he's going to have a really short rage cycle, it synergizes well with Rallying Cry, they're going to stack up pretty well, and it's going to be nice. Second thing, he has a short rage cycle. You don't need Feral Nature. When you think about it, Houche Bing is the best commander for fast, punchy, active skills that doesn't need any rage. So Feral Nature can stay exactly at 0. Put some points into Rejuvenate, in my opinion, it's still worth it. Obviously get Latent Power, and then your rest of your points will go into Health all troops and Attack all troops on the skill tree. Not going to get Naked Rage. I think Houche Bing is a bit too squishy for it. He doesn't really handle it as well as Nevsky. It's just going to probably hurt you a little bit more than it is for Arthur. If you find that you're still getting really positive trades though, you can probably switch to Naked Rage, but that couple percent extra damage could take off more than you are going to gain from it. That being said, Houche Bing is higher damage, so there's a chance you could get Naked Rage. If you respec, you do like 2 points in Rejuvenate and you take the points out of Health, you can get all the points into Naked Rage. It'd look pretty much exactly like this. Now, I don't think I'd personally do it, but if you wanted to, that is an option for you. So now, the final question I'd like to answer today, is Arthur Pendragon worth investing in? Should you expertise him? Should you use your commander swap on him? What do I really think? The answer is yeah. I mean, he's probably the best cav commander we have currently. Maybe rivaled by Nevsky or Houche Bing, maybe, but I still think he is currently the best in the game. There'd be no reason not to expertise Arthur if you're a cav main, if you're looking for a cav upgrade, if you're running something like a William still, I'd go and get Arthur. He's just a really, really good cavalry commander. Pretty much a must invest in my opinion. Definitely is going to be open field meta, and I think he's relatively overpowered. So if you want to invest in a cav commander, Arthur definitely is worth your gold sculptures. Would I say he's the most overpowered commander we've ever seen? Probably not. I'd still think Liu Che or Zhu Lang take that position. But he sure as hell is quite close. Maybe he is better than them. I'm talking relative to when they release. So Arthur Pendragon, definitely worth investing in. I wouldn't say there's a no there. And he is just a very strong commander. There's nothing niche about him. He can be ran with all the meta calves. And he's going to do extremely well with every single one of them. So that is it on the Arthur Pendragon guide. If you found the video today helpful, interesting, concise, whatever you think it is, if you find it positive at all, please just do consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out making these videos. I try to make a guide for every single commander that does release. So if you want to see my guides for all the upcoming commanders in Rise of Kingdoms, whether it be the archers a year from now, or the infantry that may be the next commander cycle, you definitely do want to consider subscribing to the channel. So consider subscribing, it supports me, and I love to make these guide videos, and that hopefully can help some of you guys out. So if you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing. If everyone is subscribed, a massive thank you to you. Now I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.